Hello everyone, I'm Chaitra Bhatt. Welcome to this video where I will be explaining about the two important features of the front of the thigh, that is the femoral triangle as well as the adductor canal. So let us begin with the femoral triangle first. The femoral triangle is a subfacial triangular space located in the upper one-third of the front of the thigh, right below the inguinal ligament. So the inguinal ligament is one such landmark that separates the pelvis from the lower limb, and right below this inguinal ligament, we have a triangular space, and this triangular space is located below the fascia, so it is subfacial, and this space is called as the femoral triangle. Next, let us look into the boundaries of the femoral triangle. So the lateral border of the femoral triangle is the medial border of the sartorius muscle, which is marked in blue over here. So this is the lateral side and this is the medial side. So this is the sartorius muscle and this is the medial border of the sartorius muscle, which makes up the lateral boundary of the femoral triangle. And the medial boundary of the femoral triangle is made up by the medial border of the adductor longus muscle. So this whole muscle is the adductor longus muscle, and this is its medial border, which is the medial boundary of the femoral triangle. And then we have the base of the femoral triangle. As mentioned before, it is made up of the inguinal ligament. And then we have the apex, which is formed by the meeting point of the sartorius muscle and the adductor longus muscle. And then we have the floor of the femoral triangle, which is gutter shaped, and it is made up of four muscles. That is the iliacus muscle. And then we have the tendon of the psoas major muscle over here, which is seen in white. And then we have the pectineus muscle. And then we have the adductor longus muscle. The roof of the femoral triangle is made up of fascia lata first. And on top of that, we have the cribriform fascia, which is a sieve-like structure, which is derived from the fibrofatty tissue layer. And on top of that, we have superficial fascia. And on top of that, we finally have the skin. What are the contents of the femoral triangle? Femoral triangle consists of the femoral artery and its branches, femoral vein and its tributaries, femoral nerve, deep inguinal lymph nodes, lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, femoral branch of the genitofemoral nerve, along with some fibrofatty tissue. Now let us discuss each and every content of the femoral triangle in detail. Let us begin off with the femoral artery. So the femoral artery transverses the femoral triangle from the mid of the base, that is the middle of the inguinal ligament, to the apex, and in such a way that it lies lateral to the femoral vein near the base, and as it approaches towards the apex, it becomes anterior to the femoral vein. The femoral artery has different types of branches. There's the superficial branches and the deep branches. The superficial branches can be named as the superficial epigastric artery, superficial circumflex iliac artery, superficial external pudendal artery, and the short forms here I have mentioned next to them are SIGA, SIA, and SIPA, which can be remembered as the names of three sisters. And then we have deep branches, that is the profunda femoris and the deep external pudendal artery. In this diagram, we can observe the superficial circumflex iliac artery, the superficial epigastric artery, superficial external pudendal artery, which basically move upwards. Okay, so now let us look into the deep branches in more detail. Let us begin with profunda femoris. So the profunda femoris is the largest branch of the femoral artery, and right below the inguinal ligament, around 3.5 centimeter below the inguinal ligament, laterally, it gives rise to the profunda femoris. And this profunda femoris immediately gives rise to two other branches, which are named as the medial circumflex femoral artery and the lateral circumflex femoral artery. So the medial circumflex femoral artery, it disappears by passing between the psoas major and the pectineus muscle, whereas the lateral circumflex femoral artery, it passes laterally towards the femoral nerve, and it passes between the anterior and posterior division of the femoral nerve. As we can observe over here, this entire thing is the femoral artery. A small branch coming out here is the profunda femoris, that is 3.5 centimeter below the inguinal ligament, laterally, and directly from the profunda femoris, we have two branches, that is the medial circumflex femoral artery and lateral circumflex femoral artery. Next, it is the time for discussion for the deep external pudendal artery. So the deep external pudendal artery pierces the fascia lata and passes medially behind the spermatocord. So here we can see the deep external pudendal vessel, which passes behind the spermatic cord medially. Next, let us discuss about the femoral vein. The femoral vein receives the following veins, that is the great saphenous vein, profunda femoris vein, and other veins corresponding to the superficial branches of the artery to form one big vein, that is the femoral vein. So the femoral vein lies medial to the femoral artery at the base, and then as it moves towards the apex, it becomes posterior to the femoral artery. Next, we have the femoral nerve. So the femoral nerve is located laterally to the femoral vessels outside the femoral sheath, and it lies in the groove between the iliacus and the psoas major muscle. It lies lateral to the femoral artery, as I mentioned before, outside the femoral sheath, and 2.5 centimeter below the inguinal ligament, it divides into two divisions, that is the anterior division and the posterior division. As we know that the femoral artery divided into the profunda femoris artery 3.5 centimeter below the inguinal ligament. Similarly, the femoral nerve divides into the anterior and posterior divisions 2.5 centimeter below the inguinal ligament. Now, the anterior division gives rise to two more cutaneous nerves, that is the intermediate cutaneous nerve and the medial cutaneous nerve, whereas the posterior division gives rise to only one cutaneous nerve, that is the saphenous nerve. The cutaneous nerve that forms over here, that is given out as a branch from the anterior division, that it runs along the femoral artery and transverses the femoral artery towards the apex. Next, we have the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh. So the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh has root value L2 and L3. It is a direct branch from the lumbar plexus, and it immediately divides into anterior and posterior branches, and it is responsible for supplying the skin over the anterior lateral side of the thigh, which is mentioned in red color over here. This part of the thigh is supplied by the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh, and this is also a major component of the femoral triangle. Next, we have the deep inguinal lymph nodes. So, the deep inguinal lymph nodes are present medial to the femoral vein in the upper part, that is towards the base of the femoral triangle, and they're usually 3 in number. So the lowest inguinal lymph nodes are present below the junction of the great saphenous and the femoral vein. That is the green color structure present over here where the cursor is pointing. That is the lowest lymph node, and the middle lymph node is present in the femoral canal. It is called the lymph node of the Cloquet, and the highest lymph node is present in the femoral ring above the femoral triangle. Next, we have the important topic is the femoral sheath now. So what happens is that when the femoral vessels enter the inguinal ligament, the upper 3 to 4 centimeter of the femoral vessels are covered by a subfacial tube, and this tube is called as the femoral sheath. So it is funnel shaped and it's a facial sheath. It encloses 3 to 4 centimeter of the femoral vessels, upper 3 to 4 centimeter of the femoral vessels, and they are derived from the intra-abdominal fascia transversalis from the anterior wall of the abdomen, fascia iliaca from the posterior wall of the abdomen. These two together form the femoral sheath. And then inferiorly, that is after 3 to 4 centimeter of the femoral vessels, it blends with the tunica adventitia layer of the femoral vessels, and it finally disappears. So this is about the femoral sheath. And along with this, some important topics to be discussed is that the presence of medial and lateral antero-posterior septa that divides the femoral sheath into 3 compartments. So the 3 compartments being, this is the lateral compartment, this is the intermediate compartment, and this is the medial compartment. The lateral compartment consists of the femoral artery along with the femoral branch of the genitofemoral nerve. The intermediate compartment consists of the femoral vein, and finally, the medial compartment consists of the lymph node of Cloquet, and it is the smallest compartment of the femoral sheath, and it is called as the femoral canal. So yeah, this is about the femoral triangle. Next, as we told before, the femoral triangle is quite an important feature of the front of the thigh. But why is it so? Let us check. So the femoral triangle is a place where femoral hernia, lymphadenopathy, and psoas abscess occurs frequently, because of which it is an important place where which requires a critical treatment if any of these diseases happen to occur. And also, if we have to palpate any of the femoral vessels, then the best place to look for them is the femoral triangle. So next, let us look into the adductor canal. So we are done with the femoral triangle. Now let's move on to the adductor canal. So the adductor canal is also called as the subsartorial canal or the Hunter's canal. So this adductor canal is about 15 centimeter long. It is an intermuscular tunnel located in the medial side of the middle 1/3 of the front of the thigh. It extends from the apex of the femoral triangle, that is the point where the sartorius and adductor longus muscle meet. From there to the adductor hiatus, which is a tendinous opening of the adductor magnus muscle below. So right from the apex of the femoral triangle to the adductor hiatus, we have a 15 centimeter long intermuscular tunnel, and this is called as the adductor canal. Next, let us look into the boundaries of the adductor canal. So the anterolateral wall of the adductor canal is formed by the vastus medialis. As we can see here, we have a triangular space that is seen over here. Why is it shown as a triangular space? Because the cross section, the transverse section of the adductor canal is triangular, and the anterolateral wall of the adductor canal is formed by the vastus medialis muscle. And then the posterior wall, that is the floor, is formed by the adductor longus above, and below this we have the adductor magnus muscle. And then the medial part, that is the roof, is formed by a strong membrane that is stretched over the anterolateral wall as well as the posterior wall, and it is overlapped by the sartorius muscle. Next, let us look into the contents of the adductor canal. We have the femoral artery, femoral vein, which are basically continuation from the femoral triangle into the adductor canal. And also the adductor canal's main function is that it is providing a passage for the passage for the femoral vessels to move from the femoral triangle to the popliteal fossa. So the femoral artery and the femoral vein are a continuation apart from the femoral triangle. Then we have the saphenous nerve, which we already saw to be a cutaneous branch of the posterior part or the posterior division of the femoral nerve. Next, we have the nerve to vastus medialis muscle, and then we have the anterior as well as the posterior division of the obturator nerve. And then finally, we have the descending genicular branch, which is a branch of the femoral artery. So here in this picture, we can clearly observe all the contents that have been mentioned over here. Next, let us look into in detail about each and every content. First, let us begin with the femoral artery. We will discuss about the femoral artery with respect to its position in the adductor canal. So the femoral artery extends from the apex of the femoral triangle up to the adductor hiatus, that is the tendinous opening of the adductor magnus. And here within the canal, it gives off muscular branches, that is, it gives off various branches to the muscles, and also it gives a descending genicular branch which arises just before the femoral artery leaves the canal. So this is the femoral artery, and here we can observe the descending genicular branch which is given rise by the femoral artery just before it leaves the canal, that is just before the adductor hiatus. Next, we have the femoral vein. So the femoral vein lies posterior and medial to the femoral artery in the upper part. So in the upper part, that is near the apex of the femoral triangle, it lies posterior to the femoral artery. But as it moves down, that is towards the lower part, it becomes lateral to the femoral artery. So there is a curvature that we observe, that first it lies posterior to the femoral artery, and towards the lower part, it becomes lateral to the femoral artery. Next, we have the saphenous nerve. So it is the longest cutaneous nerve of our body. It gives off an infrapatellar branch just before leaving the canal and pierces the sartorius, joins the patellar plexus, and supplies the prepatellar skin. So the saphenous nerve, as we saw in the femoral triangle, is the branch of the posterior division of the femoral nerve. It is the longest cutaneous nerve of the body also, and it lies lateral to the femoral vein and the femoral artery. And also it gives off an infrapatellar branch, as we can observe over here. The infrapatellar branch moves laterally. It leaves the canal while it pierces reinforces the sartorius muscle. It joins the patellar plexus and supplies the prepatellar skin. That is, over this area it supplies. Next, we have the nerve to the vastus medialis muscle. As we know that the anterolateral border of the adductor canal is made up of the vastus medialis muscle. So we have one nerve that supplies to this muscle, that is the nerve to the vastus medialis. This is the thickest branch, the thickest muscular branch of the femoral nerve. So this is the femoral nerve. And then here we have the thickest muscular branch of the femoral nerve, that is the nerve to the vastus medialis. Next, this nerve enters the vastus medialis in the upper part of the canal, that is towards the apex of the femoral triangle. And then this lies lateral to the femoral artery. Next, we have the posterior division of the obturator nerve. So here, though this is the picture where it is present in the near the spinal cord, still we can make out that this is the obturator nerve, and this is the posterior division, and this is the anterior division. So the posterior division of the obturator nerve, it runs on the anterior surface of the adductor magnus. If we can remember, the adductor magnus makes the floor of the adductor canal. So it runs anterior to the surface of the adductor magnus, and it supplies the area over the knee joint. So we saw that the femoral triangle is an important part with respect to clinical processes because of the occurrence of some frequent hernias or lymphadenopathy. So in the similar way, as I mentioned before, adductor canal is also an important feature of the front of the thigh. So the clinical significance is such that the femoral artery is exposed and ligated in the adductor canal during surgery for aneurysm of popliteal artery. Artery here is healthy and does not tear when tied. I'm pretty sure you couldn't understand this, but let me explain this to you. So there is a surgery that is done to remove the aneurysm of the popliteal artery. So here we can observe, this is the popliteal aneurysm. So if we tie the artery right above where the aneurysm has occurred, if we tie the popliteal artery right where the aneurysm has occurred, then there are high chances that the artery can get torn off because the artery here is quite weak. But if we tie the artery when the femoral artery is exposed in the adductor canal, then there are chances that it's likely to tear is very less because the artery here is quite healthy. So this process was invented by Dr. John Hunter, because of which this adductor canal gets its another name, that is the Hunter's canal. Now we have another important note that we should make sure about. The spiral course of the femoral vein and the saphenous nerve with respect to the femoral artery is due to the medial rotation of the lower limb during its development. So this, I also talked about it while explaining the femoral vein and the saphenous nerve. So we observed that the femoral vein near the apex of the femoral triangle, that is near the upper part of the adductor canal, it lies posterior to the femoral artery, and as it moves towards the end, it becomes lateral, that is, it is taking a spiral course. Even the saphenous nerve, as we can observe, it moves, it crosses the femoral artery, it transverses the femoral artery from the lateral to the medial side when it moves downward. So this this spiral course of the femoral vein and the saphenous nerve is due to the medial rotation of the lower limb during its development. So that is all we have about the adductor canal and the femoral triangle in today's anatomy class. So I hope you found this useful, and thank you. Thanks for listening.